Hey everyone, Major Injuries here. I'm at Boston International Airport, and today we're going to take a tour of my sorting facility. As I previously mentioned, I hope you guys will join me for this tour, so stay tuned, stick around. Let's go see what we got here. Alright, this is the first floor. I've got an elevator here that's just going to take me up to the second and third floors. I have vacuum hoppers here that are going to basically remove any excess materials out of these machines here. I have two of these machines. And before we get started, let's take a quick look at what mods I'm using here. I don't know if you noticed, I've got green grass out there. I am using the simple green, which I like. One of the things I've loaded for this particular build is this manufacturing extended, which gives you a recycler and also conveyor workshop storage. Those are the two items that I'll be using from this manufacturing extended mod. So let's take a look at the recyclers. I have two recyclers here and hoppers that are going to clean those out. I have two generators to power all the lights and conveyors and lifts. I have a main power switch here. It basically turns off and on the lights and the main power, as you can see. Next we have a switch that turns on basically all the machinery except for these vacuum hoppers here. I have a third switch for that, which turns out we actually don't need because this extended is slightly different than the mod that I saw in another video where this guy had to clean out these machines. Anything that doesn't get broke down by these recyclers just passes through it anyway, so there's never anything to clean out. But let's see how it works. I've got a sorter here, and basically all these materials or all these objects are going to be pass through the sorter. Any component is going to be that I have listed here is going to pass through. Any other items like fans or cans or pans or whatever, those items are going to be passed through the sorter onto the recyclers here. The recyclers are then going to break them down. That's the cool thing about the recyclers. It literally breaks them down to the component level. So I have nothing but components being stored and sorted. Alright, so let's take a look. This goes up to the third floor. Both of the recyclers and the sorter lift are going to go up to the third floor. We'll take a look at that. On the third floor, it's kind of dark up here. I guess I didn't get lights up here. They're not working, one of the two. These are the lifts for the sorter. This is the one for the sorter, and these two are the recyclers. The recycler will break down to the component level and then basically fill this thing up full of all the different components. Once this hopper gets the components, it's going to drop them onto conveyor in the second floor, which we'll take a look at here. Here's where the hopper basically drops everything onto this conveyor, and then they just basically go through a series of sorters, and I'm just collecting all the different materials that I'm going to need. As I mentioned previously, the reason I did this was because of the Toy Factory build that I made, and I just needed so much components, it was crazy, so I thought I'd get a collection of stuff. I just basically go out and salvage tons and tons of stuff, put it all in here, and fill up all these storage. Anything that doesn't get sorted on the second floor is then going to pass through the lift here and go up to the third floor. And on the third floor, I basically set up the exact same, third floor, there we go. I basically set up the same thing. So that lift right there, as you can see, lifts it up. and this conveyor carries it around, where I basically just duplicated the exact same thing we had on the second floor. And you can see I'm sorting plastics, rubber, screws. Basically, I've got a ton of springs. And so that's how I'm getting things sorted out here. Anything that doesn't get sorted basically passes to this conveyor workshop storage, which is part of the mod. Now what this does, it basically takes any components that it receives and sends them down to the workshop for me, so I don't have to. I mean, I literally could have just, you know, built a conveyors here, dropped it down to the first floor, and then deposited them in there, but it just didn't make any sense. Why not just do this and make it easy? So that's basically how the system works. Nothing really super complicated, but it does come in handy because I get a breakdown. I go out collecting for hours. I get a bunch of materials. Like right now, I'm basically, it keeps telling me I'm full, so I can't run. And I'm just going to come in here and deposit this stuff. And we'll show you how this works. Pretty simple stuff. Alright, so let's just drop everything we have. I think I have some pre-war money, so I got to be careful not to download that. Yeah, there's pre-war money. You can see I have Nuka-Cola bottles. I have all kinds of materials here. Desk fans. Let's just drop all this stuff in here. This is going to take a while. And the nice thing is I can just let this stuff run and then go about my business. I can go on and do other things. Alright, there we go. Alright. So let's go around this way. You can see it starts feeding things out. Any materials are going to be fed straight up through this lift. Any items are going to be sent this way. And then I just I set up this diverter, which didn't catch. There we go. Set up the diverter so that I can have two machines working at the same time. Oh, I love how these laser switches don't always work the first time. It's weird. That's how that works. So components are going to go here. Oh, I think I just saw a component, maybe. And then all your other items are going to go here. Let's go see what happens up top. So this goes to the third floor. On the third floor, it's going to drop everything into the hopper, as I mentioned. There we go. And you can see some components dropping down here from the actual component sorter, and then these are the two lifts from the recyclers. Right now, obviously, I must have dropped a bunch of wood or something in there. So all these materials in are just basically going to go down to the second floor through, drop down on the conveyor. I've got the timing set up for 3 seconds on this. I recommend that for anytime you're using a diverter. Plus it just keeps things from bouncing all over the place and getting some traffic jams and things like that here. Now you can see how it works. Very simple. And then I built a factory, just completed a version 2 of the previous video where I had the toy factory that was kind of a jumbled mess. I completely tore that down and completely rebuilt the entire thing. And I did need excess materials, because when I broke down the materials that I'd used for that build, or as I scrapped everything, it doesn't give you the exact same number back that I used, so I had to have a lot more gears. You can see I've emptied these gears out. Glass was a huge problem, so I've come here many times to finish this factory build. So yeah, it comes in very handy. Anything that doesn't get sorted, like I said, is going to go to this lift, And then you probably noticed on the third floor where that lift came up. So there's the lift, it comes up right here. And then I just duplicated the exact same layout that I had on the second floor up here on the third floor, doing the exact same thing. I get nuclear materials, oil, plastic, pretty much anything I'd ever need, really. There are some materials that I'm not storing. They actually hit this workshop's conveyor workshop storage and drops down into, through magic of course, to my workshop. So this will take a while. As much materials as I put in there, it's going to take a while to go through them. As you can see here, we'll go look and see where it's at. It's still going to feed things for quite some time. So there's still a lot of materials to go through. The hopper on the second floor also fills up and drops out every 3 seconds. It's getting fed from 3 different lifts. So that builds up. That hopper is going to build up materials and then drop it down in every 3 seconds. So it will take a while. So yeah, anyway, this is the build. Very cool, very simple. I was going to fix this up. I went through the trouble of making this building. This was actually the first building that I completed. And I was going to decorate it and do all this, but then I noticed there's just so much crap that you can't get rid of. It just wasn't worth it. I started building over here, and look at this. This, I don't know why. This was on a counter that I removed, and when I removed the counter, it didn't remove this debris, so it's just floating in air. I've got it here, and I was like, you know what? I don't really care to fix this up really super nice. I want it functional, right? I'm a functional guy, so this is definitely functional. I use conduits here with, well, I forget what these things are, little radiated things, but anything within a certain radius of that radiator, energy radiator, whatever it's called, will light up. So that's how I control the lights. I did that all over. I set up these things all over the place. That was fun. It was the second time I've ever done these things. It was the first time I've played with the radiator emitting energy emitters, whatever they're called. So yeah, a quick tour or a quick explanation of a couple things here. I don't know if you noticed, but I used the same AND gates and OR gate and NOR gate that I used previously in my previous build. So the laser tripwire switch here, I have 2 of them. So when material comes over here, it's going to trip this, which is connected to the second switch, and this one is connected to the first one, or not switch, AND gate. So this feeds this is connected to the first tripwire switch. This is connected to the second one. When I have either both of these off, which as you can see in this case, both of them are off, I have no power here, so then I get power to the diverter. If I have both of these on, I also have power. But if I turn one of these on and one of them off, let's just change this one, you'll see it basically turns the power off for the diverter. So that's how I kind of toggle back and forth between the 2 lanes like this. So okay, quick explanation on that. Very simple. Secondly, I built these doors here, and I wanted to keep intruders out while I was working in this. So I wanted a switch that would open them from the outside and one that would close it once I got in here. You notice the power's on in this one, which means it's off on the other side, or it would be open. You can see I used an AND gate here. Or actually, I think I used an XNOR gate. Or what is that? No, it's an AND gate. Okay. So if I have power to both of them, the doors open up. Alright. So, you see this one's red, which means the other one's green, or the door would be open. So you have to go out the door where the red light is. So whichever door I go in, I have to remember. Yeah, I have to remember to look for the red. Look for the switch to be off, basically. See, if once I turn this off, the door's going to close. So there you go. That's basically how that works, and it keeps nosy people out. So anyway, that's the build. Nothing super fancy, but I highly suggest having a sorting facility like this. It really does help. If you're going to try to do factory build where you're going to use a lot of material, this comes in super handy. Plus, you know, just having some place to put all the stuff that you find throughout the day, throughout your adventures. So let's see how we're doing here. All right, let's go back up to the 3rd floor real quick and see what's happening. Oh, I got double stack wood there. Wood sometimes does clog up the system, so I should probably check, see what's going on here. I must have dropped a bunch of wood in here. I didn't mean to. Yeah, we got a bunch of wood. Alright, so anyway, that wood should be going. I added more of these before I had a chance to label them. Yeah, so here's my wood. Yeah, so you can see the wood. There you go. I got plenty of, well, I can build just about anything now. I got enough wood, so very handy. Alright guys, that's it. Nothing super complicated, but it was fun, and it definitely, I use it all the time. I think it's very handy. Next video is going to be it's going to be the Toy Factory version 2. I completely tore down the old Toy Factory and built it back up, and I have everything going into one place now, so it's much nicer. Can't wait to show that. That video should be coming out in the next day or two, so keep an eye out for that. Thanks for watching, everyone. I appreciate it, and we'll see you in the next one.